channel, my name's Angela and this is Devon Thread Tales. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to share with you some of my recent makes. They're things that I made through November and a little bit of December. I actually did a plans video which I hadn't done for a long time a while ago. I'll put a link in so you can have a little look if you want to, although I'm going to be showing you all of the makes that I've made from that video today. And I just decided I was going to put a plans video together just to see if it gave me a little bit of encouragement to get some sewing done, because I've been a little bit off my game of late, whether that's because I've been too busy or just not feeling the love for it or what have you, and I just felt like I needed a bit of a push to make me do some sewing because I wanted to do it but just didn't have the get up and go to do it. So it worked and I have actually managed to sew everything that was on my list, so that's really great. So for the first time in absolutely ages, I'm sharing with you a makes video. I feel like I haven't done one of these in such a long time. I've been doing my 1 week me mades throughout some of the year and I really enjoy doing those. But it's really nice to share with you some of the makes that I've done, and I really like doing that, especially because sometimes if there's something that I'm not sure about with a make, you guys are really great at sort of coming back with comments about, oh, I think this would be better, or have you tried this technique, and that kind of thing. So it's really, really good. So I shall get on with what it is that I have been making. So the first thing that I made was this dress, and this is the Sew Over It Aida dress. Now, I saw this dress when it first came out and did I buy it straight away? I think I might have left it for a few months and then decided, no, it's something I wanted to make. Now, it was brought out this year, but not that long ago. And I just felt like it was something I wanted to do. But again, it was one of those patterns that I went, oh, I don't want to forget about that. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to download the pattern, get it printed. And then it sits in my cupboard and I don't make it. And I just thought, no, that's one of those things that I want to make. I love the idea of making this dress because I like the fact that it's made from viscose fabric. It's nice and floaty, but it comes high up at the neck. It has long sleeves, which I'm guessing if you wanted to, you could make it with short sleeves as well. And it's sort of semi-fitted around the waist area, but not overly fitted. And it's just a really nice lightweight, but still a wintry dress. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I feel like you can't wear summery dresses very easily in the winter. Well, I find that I can't. I don't know how to style them up other than maybe putting a jumper over them or something like that. And I like the idea of wearing something a bit lighter and a bit more comfortable, but that still is wintry. Am I making any sense? I'm not really sure if I am. It's making sense in my head. Anyway, I will show you the dress. So I am going to put proper pictures up so you can see it fully. But this dress has got a seam that comes under the bust. So it doesn't have a waist seam at all. Seam that comes under the bust. And it has a little bit of gathering under each bust. Now I think I should possibly move that gathering just in a little bit because I don't think this sits properly under my bust, but this was kind of my wearable toile that I was going to make. It then comes up just a nice round neck and it's got a facing on the inside. It has a very, very slight gathered sleeve, but hardly anything at all. It's not a puff sleeve, but it just sort of sits in quite nicely, but because it's got that little bit of gathering in it, it's slightly easier to fit, so that's really great. But yeah, very slight bit of gather there, and then it's got these great sheared sleeves, and I have never made sleeves like this. I'll try and stand up so I can show you. I quite like these. I thought it was nice because I liked the fact that it gave the sleeve a little bit of a different piece of interest to it because it has that little bit of puffiness, but it also has almost like a little bit of a frill at the bottom where you leave a centimetre or two to start the shearing, and then it's actually very comfortable around the wrist because it's not tight, it just sort of sits really nicely around each wrist. So I really like that. And then the only other thing is that it comes out at a slightly A-line. Can I come back and show you a little bit? Slightly A-line, and this actually is shorter than the pattern, but I'll talk to you about that in a second. Sort of skirt, and it's got panels. So it's got a centre panel, a front side panel, back side panels, or is it yes, and then a centre back, and it's got a zip that runs from the top all the way down, so it's easy to get in and out of. Hopefully you saw that, because I can never tell if I'm in the camera when I'm when I'm showing you my makes. Anyway, so I really like this dress. There are a few things that I'm going to change about it the next time that I make it, and I'm going to be very, very mindful about writing on my pattern pieces before I put them away, because they're still in my sort of current project drawer that I've got upstairs at the moment. So I need to take them out to put them away, and I'm going to write on them. So the couple of things that I'm going to change is I'm going to add an inch or two to the length of the sleeve. I just feel like, because it's got that bit of shearing on it, if I do sort of like go like that, it then stays there, because you know I'm pulling at it and it's pulling back my sleeve, and it sort of stays around there, and I keep having to pull them down, and I feel like they possibly are just slightly on the short side. So I'm going to start by the next time I make it adding just an inch to the sleeve length and see how that goes. So that's the first thing that I would like to change. The second thing that I'd like to change about this, and this is not something that I'm going to change on the pattern piece, but I'm going to be mindful of next time I'm cutting out fabric, is that I actually cut off about 4 inches from the bottom to make it the length that I felt suited me. So I'm not going to cut that off the pattern piece, but I'm going to write across it, you know, 4 inches can be removed from this skirt length, because if I've got a piece of fabric which I'm not quite sure I'm going to fit it in on, then I can, rather than making it up and then cutting the fabric off, I might be able to, you know, save some fabric or get it on a piece of fabric if it's a bit smaller than the requirements, that kind of thing. Is there anything else that I would change? The only other thing that I thought I was going to change, now this is a bit of a weird conversation because I'm going to talk about my underwear, but I thought that I needed to take this in here. Now I made the straight size 12, and my measurements for reference are bust between a 36 and 37. My waist is between 30 and 31, and my hips are about a 38. Now, I used to be a little bit smaller than that, and I'm still kind of grabbing onto that. I'm still going to make the smaller size, but I can't. And I feel like this fits me really nicely, and I was going to take this in here. But the reason I was going to take it in is because the first time I tried it on, I had it on with a different bra. Now, that sounds really bizarre. Well, why does that make a difference? But sometimes the underwear that you wear and the bra that you wear makes a huge difference to the look and the feel of your outer clothes. And the bra that I had on was just like a little, almost like a little crop top, so it didn't really have any support. And I felt like I kind of just went straight up and down. And I thought, I'm gonna just take it in a little bit, and it'll just pull it in and it'll look nicer. And I'm glad I didn't. I kind of put it away with the idea of, you know, I'll get that done at some point, and then I'll change the pattern pieces to show that I'm going to bring it in and what have you. But I actually then tried it on again to do that, to bring the pattern pieces in, but I tried it on with what I would call like a normal bra. Now I've got on a normal underwide bra, but I'm not saying it has to be underwide, it's just an ordinary bra that has proper support, and because of that I feel like it's changed my bust shape a little bit, and that's sort of given me a bit more definition around here, and I think it looks absolutely fine now, and there's absolutely no need to take it in. So, you know, I think if I took it in it would be uncomfortable. All I was going to do was I was going to grade down a size just around the waist, but I think now it would have been too small if I had done that. But weirdly, when I tried it on with the other bra, it just didn't look right. So it was one of those things, it was hanging on my mannequin whilst I was making it, and I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to try that on. It's so exciting. I love the sleeves, and it's all lovely. And then when I tried it on, I was like, oh, it's okay. But now I'm like, I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm really pleased with this dress. Now this fabric has got a little daisy on it. I'll try and kneel a bit closer. So it's got a little daisy on it. It's black background with white daisies with a little yellow spot or orangey yellow spot. I don't know if you can see that very well on the screen. And I got it from Rainbow Fabrics. During the summer, I didn't do very much sewing, and I had a bit of a, I want to sew, but I don't want to sew, and I just went on a bit of a fabric buying rampage, which was very naughty, and I bought lots of viscoses and things like that, and I got some from Rainbow Fabrics, which was quite inexpensive. I quite like Rainbow Fabrics, because they do seem to have quite a big range. But what I will say is that a couple of the fabrics that I've bought from them, and I'm not trying to diss them, because actually I've had some beautiful fabrics from them, but this is one of the ones I had a fault in it, and I didn't actually realise I had a fault in it until I was sewing it up. And I wonder if I can see it now. I think it's here. It looks like, well, to me it looks like I've got a bit of Tipex on it, but obviously the ink from the flower has smudged or something there, and there's another one somewhere else on the dress as well. Now, it's very insignificant, and if I've got my hair like that, you're not going to see it. And actually, even if I've got my hair like that, to be fair, unless I pointed it out, I don't know that you would notice, but I can see in the camera, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, oh, I can see it's right there. It's like a whiter patch, and I'm a little bit gutted with it. But that said, this was going to be my wearable toile. I wanted to not waste my time by making just a toile up. I wanted to have something that I could wear, because my time's very, very precious. So I decided to make it up exactly as the pattern is, in cheap fabric, and that's exactly what I have done. And it is totally wearable, and I'm going to wear it and have worn it to work. I'm wearing it today, and I'm not at work, and it feels really nice. I've just got it on with thick black tights, and I would either put that on with small little black ankle boots or some brown knee-high boots, whip a scarf around, that kind of thing. You know, it's a lovely, lovely dress. But obviously, if I want to make it again and make all the adjustments, I might make it in some nicer fabric. I feel like I've gone on. I feel like I've really dissed rainbow fabrics. That's not what I'm doing. I feel like, should I stop talking? I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to get on, and I'm going to show you the next thing that I've made. So this is my second make, and this is the Paper Theory Company Zadie jumpsuit. Now, this is something that I have not been able to get on board with for a very, very long time. I think because it has been a very oversized, baggy jumpsuit, and I just kept seeing versions of it and thinking, yeah, it looks nice. I don't think it's really me, and I'm not really sure. And I just kind of ummed and ahed about it for a very long time. However, I then got to teach the Zadie at Make 140, and before doing it I thought, I really think I better make one. Make sure that, you know, I know what I'm doing, and I'm very glad that I did. But because of that, it made me search and search and search all of the different versions that I could see of it. So that was pictures on Instagram, I looked up YouTube videos, there's things on Pinterest, I revisited the actual pattern company and looked at all the images that they had, and I did lots and lots of reading of different people's blogs and things like that in terms of what to do with sizing, because lots of people, and the general consensus has been that they size down. Now, if you size down, because there's so much room and so much positive ease in this garment, if you size down, you're fairly safe in doing so, and you shouldn't, encounter any problems. But it obviously got to change the look for how the pattern was intended. So the pattern is intended to be a very big, sort of oversized, very comfortable, not that this isn't comfortable, but very comfortable jumpsuit. So just bear that in mind if you do decide to make the Zadie. What it looks like in the packaging, if you change the size, obviously you're going to change the look of it, which is what I feel I've done with this. So the first one that I made in a denim, and if I can think of it, I will put the image of it here somewhere on the screen, or here. I never know which side I'm meant to be pointing to, but I'll put the image up somewhere. Anyway, so I made it in a chambray, and again I made it in a very cheap fabric that I bought from Hobbycraft, I think, and I washed it through. Actually, the dye in the fabric all came out, and it all looked a little bit not very good. I don't know how else to put it, but it just looked a bit rubbish. But I was using that to really try and get the fit on it. Again, I was trying to do it as a wearable toile because I wanted to I just really felt like I wanted to get the fit right before I cut into my nice fabric. And my nice fabric is this fabric, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous viscose fabric that I bought from First for Fabrics. It's a beautiful teal green, and it's got these, well, at first I thought they were like little pairs of shoes, but they're actually sort of maybe little seeds or feathers or petals or something like that. And they have this fabric in lots and lots of different colours. In fact, I've seen it in lots of shops, but I got mine from First for Fabrics, And you can get it in blue and red. I think you can get it in a yellow or a mustard sort of colour, and all sorts of different colours. I really like this teal green. I thought it was a colour that would suit me, and I'm really happy with it. And when the fabric came, it just felt so incredibly beautifully soft. I washed it through before obviously cutting out the pattern, and again the fabric was absolutely lovely. It's been really nice to work with. It's a good weight. It's very soft and floaty, but it doesn't feel sort of flimsy and like it's going to deteriorate very easily. Anyway, enough about the fabric, even though it's lovely. On to the Zadie jumpsuit. So my size, like I said before, for my body measurements, which are roughly 36, 37, between a 30, 31 and about a 38 hip, my measurement really put me around about the 12 or 14 mark for the Zadie jumpsuit. And I just knew that was going to swamp me. I just, then looking at all of the positive ease that was in it, I just thought it's just ridiculously big, which is why I then went and did all the research with all these other blogs and things. So I decided to size down 2 sizes. So I actually sized down to a 10 on the top, so the whole of the top is a 10, and then from the waist down I then graded between a 10 and an 8, and then I actually reduced the crotch length. So I just brought that crotch length up a little bit, and I did that by 4 centimeters. Now I hold my hands up and just say I totally and utterly copied Tamlin from Sewn on the Tyne, because I thought the fit of hers was fantastic. And I messaged her and she very kindly told me, and in fact I think she's got it on a video as well, about what she did and the grading that she did, and I decided that that was going to fit fine for me. I think she's a little bit smaller than me, but not so much that I thought this wouldn't fit. Anyway, I will stand up and show you, but like I say, I'll put pictures and things in. So that's the adjustments that I made on this jumpsuit in terms of sizing. So it's, I'll just undo this so you can see what it's like. If you haven't seen the Zadie before, which if you haven't, I would be very surprised, but it is a proper wrap over jumpsuit, and this tie, obviously I can't totally open it otherwise I'll flash you, but this tie comes through and this one wraps over, and then you just tie it. It has these lovely big pockets here. It's got pleats on the back which would marry up to the pleats on the body, and it's got pleats down the front here. Like I say, the pockets are lovely and large. Now, I actually made mine, and you'll see it in the video. I made mine for my toile, the chambray one that I made it, except for the sizing differences that I did, I made it exactly as it came out of the packet. So I didn't change the length of it or anything like that. And it's a very summery, well, this is too, to be fair, but a very summery, can wear it with sort of little pumps and things like that, and it would look really nice. But I decided I wanted this to have the option to possibly be a bit dressy if I wanted to as well. So I lengthened the legs. Now I lengthened them a bit too much. I think I added something like 7 inches to the bottom, and then ended up having to cut quite a bit off. But I added it on so that they were full length, so they come all the way down to my ankles. And again, I feel like I can wear this very nicely with a pair of pumps. That will look absolutely fine during the summer, but I can also wear this with a pair of heels, and that'll look quite nice going out for an evening, nice little cardigan, that kind of thing. One of the details that the Zadie has on it is that it has this bias bound neckline. Now, I actually went around my neckline with some stay tape before I did anything, and then I bias bound it. And I had seen lots of people talking about different ways in which they put the bias binding on. In the instructions, it tells you to, if you know what I mean by bias binding, it sort of folds over in half. And some people sew it on first on one side and then turn it in on itself and fold it and then re-sew it coming down. And in the instructions, it tells you to literally sandwich it on and sew it straight like that. And I was a bit, I don't know, because then somebody else had suggested actually turning the bias binding completely in on itself and not having any of it showing. But I thought that was part of the look, was to have the bias binding. It's, you know, it's a really nice sort of look and a nice finish on it. So again, I am. So on my 12 version, I did as it said in the instructions, and I just went very carefully and very slowly and used about a gazillion pins. And it worked perfectly fine. I didn't miss any of it. just taking my time doing it, and I went round, and it felt lovely once I had done it. So I'm really pleased that I took my time to do that, and it was definitely the right thing to do. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this Zadie jumpsuit. It just feels really comfortable, very relaxed. If I'm honest, I haven't worn it since I've made it. Couple of reasons. First of all, I was very poorly for a few weeks, so I really couldn't. I lived in my pajamas basically, and it's really cold, and I feel like this isn't that appropriate. I'm kind of wondering, I'm meant to be going to a do on the weekend, and it's a lunchtime Christmas do, and I'm wondering whether I could wear this. I don't know whether I would be too cold, or just put a little shawl or a little cardigan on with it, but a little pair of heels. I thought this would be quite nice, and it'll feel nice because it's a brand new outfit that I haven't worn out yet. So yeah, but this is my Zadie jumpsuit. So I am now going to very quickly tell you about the sponsors of my video. So I changed location. I'm now in my sewing room. It is actually Katie's bedroom, but when she's away at university, she lets me use it, so it's great. So I wanted to change location so that I could talk to you and show you light, or some light, which is a bit strange, but anyway. I was contacted recently by serious readers about doing a collaboration with them, and I have to say they contacted me at the most perfect moment, because I had already started searching for a light and a solution to my light problems for sewing, and I've been looking online. I've been looking at different companies, I've been looking at different lights, I've been looking everywhere, and I had also actually come across them because I'd seen them on another video with Tamlin from Sewn on the Time. So I was so delighted when they contacted me, because literally I was on the verge of buying something, and I wanted something that was going to really help with my nighttime sewing, but also during the winter months, and when it's a bit darker, even during the day, I find it quite hard sewing. On top of that, I am trying to be good and not bury myself away into my sewing room of a night time, and actually spend a bit more time downstairs with my husband and my children and watching a bit of TV and what have you of an evening, rather than just sewing all the time. And I wanted to be able to knit and crochet, because I can't stand just sitting still. But it's really hard when it's nighttime and you're knitting, and I don't know, maybe it's the light, maybe it's my age, but I just really feel like I struggle. And so this has been a perfect solution for me. Serious readers, they've basically combated this problem with Daylight, because they use a Daylight Wavelength Technology. Now I'm going to try and get all technical here, and hopefully won't get it wrong. And this replicates the daylight spectrum as, look, you can see, look, I'm reading it, as closely as possible, as technically possible. Shall I say that again? Let's say that again. They use a daylight wavelength technology that replicates the daylight spectrum as closely as technically possible. There you go. Whew. God, I've come out in a bit of a sweat doing that. But basically what it means is that the lights that they produce, and it's not like this weird yellowy light, it's not a glaring fluorescent light. It really does feel like a beautiful natural light, and it doesn't feel harsh against your eyes, and it just feels really right. I feel like there's a better way to say that, but it just feels really right when you're trying to work on something which is maybe small and fiddly and needs a little bit of attention, and instead of kind of feeling like I'm going like that and squinting, I just feel like I can work as if it's a normal day or a normal bright day. So it's absolutely fantastic. So this is a UK based company, and all of their products are produced within the UK. They're all built in the UK, which is fantastic. Although I will say they do ship worldwide, so even better. And I looked on their website, and they do a really large range. Again, I'm going to read from my list because I can't stop reading from my list. They do a large selection of lights. So they do floor lights, they do table lights, bedside lights, and high definition. So I had a really good look, and I decided on ordering a high definition Gemini floor lamp. I think I've got that right. Yeah, so it's high definition, it's Gemini, so 2 lights, and it's floor standing. Oh, look, I'm pointing here as if you can see it, and you can't, can you? So I'm going to turn, or I'm going to pull the light over to me so you can see it. So this light obviously stands on the floor, and it's got a very, oh gosh, it's got a very heavy base. So there's no chance of it falling over. Right, I'm going to turn this slightly around for you. There we go. And look, there you go, that's all you can see. But it has, I'm going to turn these lights off because I don't think it will come up on the camera very well if I show it like this. But it has these 2 heads. How fab are they? So what this means is that when I am using the light, I can have one right above me shining down so that it lights up the whole area, but I can then have another one pointing very specifically at the project that I'm working on, or the piece of work that I'm working on. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the lights. So they, like I say, it's got a very heavy base. It has these flexible arms, which are really tough, I have to say. They're really easy to move, but they feel like fantastic quality, and very, very robust. And I think this is the nickel detail, because I ordered mine in black with nickel finishes, but you could order it in different colours. I think there was white, there was black, there was nickel, you could get black, I think there was possibly a brass. You have to have a look on the website, and I will put all the details of that in the description below as well. But nickel is the finish that I went for with black, because I thought it would just kind of blend in with most things. So it has on and off switch, which, you know, it's just a little tiny button. It's just a press button underneath. And then it has a dial on the back, which either softens the light or makes it brighter, so at its fullest. Now, it's daytime today, you're not going to be able to properly see exactly what I'm showing you here, but it's at its brightest, it is really bright. How can I show you that? Maybe I have to do a bit of footage when it's nighttime as well. So it's really bright, and then you can offer, like I say, you can soften it. So if you didn't want to be sat there working on something, but you just wanted to light something up and you were just sat, you know, you could just soften the light a little bit. That's great. It also then has these dials. So if I turn this off, let me turn that off so I can bring that around and show you properly. So it has these dials on the inside of the light, and you can swivel those, and that will intensify or broaden the light. So it will either give you a wider spectrum of light, or it will bring it down into an intense light. So again, if you're working on something, you can have one of these nice big bright light, nice and wide, and then you could have this one really intensifying on the piece of work that you're looking at, which is the thing that I have found most helpful, I have to say. So that is what this dial does. And then it has this handle on it, and you can literally swivel this. I think it says in the description it's 350 degrees. I might have got that wrong. But yeah, absolutely fantastic, because you can literally put it wherever you like. Now, I have heard other people say that they have one in one place in their room and they have one pointing to another place in their room. I haven't done that yet. I have just found it most useful using it on my sewing desk and having it positioned. I've even had it positioned behind me with one light coming this side and one light coming that side. So I just get this lovely kind of lighting on my desk. However, what I will say is I have practiced using this with only one light, and it lights it just as beautifully when I do that. So I feel like if I had got just one light, it would have been great. But the two is brilliant, not gonna lie. So that's what I've been using while I've been sewing. However, with this light, let me put this over here, so it's, I'll try and put the light, there we go. I had it all positioned all lovely, and now I've messed it up, haven't I? There we go. So what I have been doing, I've been using that, but with this light, I got a free light, and that is a compact light. And this is something that actually serious readers are offering you as well. So if you put in a code SR201, so I'm just again reading that, making sure I get it right. I'll put it across the screen. I will also put it in the description below as well, so that you can use that code. SR201, and it basically means that when you buy any light from them, you will get a complimentary free compact light, which is worth £150. Now, I've got this on my desk at the moment, And again, I've got it on. I don't really know why I've got it on because it is daytime at the moment. I just thought it'd be, so wow, I'm talking about it, I'll turn it on. I won't shine it on you because it might, well, blind you. So this again has a very robust but very easily movable neck, stem. Don't know what we'd call that really, but anyway, it's very, very easy to move, but it feels really well built and very, very flexible, which is great. It's not difficult to move at all. And then it has an on and off switch here. Okay, so I actually was, again, very delighted that I was getting this light, and I set it up downstairs next to my settee on a little table, and I started knitting, and I was like, this is just great. It's absolutely fantastic. I've got this fantastic light. And then Christmas has happened, and we've moved everything around in my lounge, and the Christmas tree has gone up in the place of my table, so I have had to move it, but it will be going back, I can assure you, after Christmas has happened. So I've just got an additional light now up in my sewing room, which is absolutely fine. But no, I have to say I've been so delighted with them. The company themselves, once I made the order came through very, very quickly. I haven't done an unboxing and I haven't videoed an unboxing, but what I will say is that the lights come so well packaged. They're not difficult to assemble. There is really no assembly to them at all. They just come, you know, as they are, come built like this, and they are very, very well protected. It was very, very quick, and they do, like I say, ship to overseas as well. So if you are watching this from overseas, do have a look, because like I say, they will send it to you. They also come with I think it's a 5-year warranty. Sorry, I had to check, but I was right. I was absolutely sure I had read that they come with a warranty. But yes, any of the lights in the Serious Lights range come with a 5-year warranty, which, I mean, that's fantastic. 5 years is pretty amazing, actually. So yes, so I am going to possibly do a little bit of videoing when it is nighttime and use it, well, not nighttime, not like the middle of the night, but when it's the evening, and I'll put a bit of footage of that in whilst I'm actually speaking, or while I've been speaking over this as well, because I cannot emphasize enough how much these lights have helped me of an evening. So that is everything I need to tell you about Serious Readers and the sponsors of this video. Back to my makes. So on to my next make, and this is the Sew Over It Jessie cardigan. Now again, this is yet another pattern that I saw when it first came out, and this one came out quite a few years ago, I think, actually, and it was portrayed on the pattern sleeve, or the pictures on the website, as a really mega oversized cardigan, so a combination between a cardigan and a coat. So it's a coat that doesn't have any fastenings. It's very soft and sort of snuggly, and well, I guess that does depend on what fabric you use. But it isn't really quite a coat because it doesn't do up, but it is. I don't think I'd wear it at home as a cardigan, so it's more of a coat than a cardigan. Oh, I don't know. It's between a coat and a cardigan. Make your own decision. Anyway, I was a little bit on the fence about it, and then kind of put it away as nah, it's not really for me. It's way too oversized, but not really thinking about the fact that, well, you could just size down. And I think if I was doing this, I would have been a couple of sizes bigger, but I actually ended up making the smallest size that was on in the pattern. Now I have to be honest, I cannot remember if this comes up as a small, medium, large, extra large, etc., or whether it comes up as a 8, 10, 12, 14. I generally can't remember. All I know is that I cut out the very smallest size, and I know that I wasn't the smallest size with my measurements. So I've made this, and I will obviously be putting pictures and videos in of me. But I made it based on the fact that although it was something that I wasn't particularly keen on to begin with, I really did fancy something along these lines. And I saw Karen from So Little Time, and I went up and visited her, and she had her cardigan. I went, oh, let me try it on. So I tried it on, and I really liked it. And then to completely confirm those feelings, I went to the Knitting and Stitching show with Helen from Stitch Rip Repeat and tried on one of their samples on their rail in the Sew Over It stand. And I was like, no, I definitely want to make this. So I'm really glad that I have, and I'm really glad that I sized down, because I do feel like this is the right size for me. I don't think I'd want it any bigger. So I used a fabric that I bought from the Knitting and Stitching show actually, and a couple of things about this. First of all, I feel like I didn't really understand what this fabric was. I thought it was just a Pontoroma or a jersey fabric or something along those lines, but I washed the fabric and it really changed the look of it. And I feel like it's almost kind of like felted, the fabric, but it's okay, it's fine, and it works really well for this jacket. But it wasn't quite what I intended, but it wasn't a particularly expensive fabric, and I just thought I'm just going to go for it. Now, I said before that I was going to make this, and I was going to make it out of this fabric, and that it had a dark colour on one side and a pale colour on the other, and I wasn't sure which way round I was going to do it. But I'm glad that I've done it this way round. I think the pale suits me better, the pale grey suits me better than the dark grey, and I just prefer the look of it, and I think it will go with lots and lots of different things. I've got it on at the moment. I just quickly got changed and I've put on a jumpery top and a pair of trousers, but I think it would look nice over a sweater dress or that kind of thing. So it's kind of it's sort of a smart casual sort of jacket thing. That's probably a far more technical term than that. So, like I say, made the smallest size, made it out of this fabric, which went a bit strange when I washed it, and then I decided I was going to bias bind all of the inside. Now, I had decided I was going to do that, and then when the fabric washed, it was a bit funny. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered now. But Karen, so little time, persuaded me that it was the right thing to do. So I was looking through my fat quarters, not to use a fat quarter, but just to find something that was going to, you know, suit the colouring on this, and I found this, and it was one of the fat quarters I got in my Sew Hayley Jane box, and I thought, oh, actually that just goes really, really well. And obviously I didn't have enough because I needed to make about 12 to 14 meters of bias binding. I also needed the pocket bags and things, so that was a little bit of a nightmare. But I put a shout out on Instagram and a few people sent me their fat quarters, so that was really, really kind of you. So thank you so much if you were one of the people that did. So many people replied, and I had to go back to some people and say, actually, don't worry now, I've got enough, so thank you. So I made the bias binding. What did I do? I cut out the pockets. Now, I cut out the pockets slightly differently, and I have mentioned this, I think, on one of my Vlogmas videos that I've put out, but I ended up cutting 3 pocket bags per pocket. So I've got the inside pocket is the correct side on each side, but I then put another pocket bag facing the right way on the outside, so that it was pretty on there just as much it was pretty on there, because I just really liked that look and I thought that was quite nice. Now, it's a cotton poplin type fabric, so it's quite stiff, and I have to be honest, I was very lazy and I didn't actually wash it before I did, you know, use it, which I never do. I always wash my fabric first, so very, very naughty. But I know that cotton doesn't tend to shrink, so I'm doing that and hoping it won't. But actually this feels a little bit stiff, so I think if I put it through the wash again, my hand wash it actually, just in case, because of this fabric, but if I wash it again, I think it will feel a lot softer and a lot better, because I think also where I've just slightly stitched it, although you can't see the stitching on here, you can see roughly where that pocket bag is, which is a bit of a shame. Anyway, it's fine, and maybe I just need to give it a good press or something, I'm not sure. So, bias bound everything. Now, I will say this is what I class as a finished garment, but it was only when I was putting it on earlier I realised I've actually forgotten to bias bind the seams around the arm. And the sleeves are a drop shoulder, so everything inside, in fact I'll take it off to show you, everything inside is bias bound. So bias bound the shoulder seams and all around the inside where the facing is, and across the hem at the bottom and everything. But like I say, I totally forgot, and it was only when I was actually putting it on a moment ago I was like, oh, I haven't done that. I've even bias bound, let me show you, on the inside the sleeves all the way around there. Now, do you know what, it doesn't matter if it's not bias bound, it wouldn't have mattered at all, it would have been absolutely fine. But I really like it, and I think it gives it a very professional finish, and I think it looks absolutely lovely. And I think it will possibly last a bit longer as well, because it's, you know, it's had to have so many stitches over it to keep it all in place. So I think, you know, I think that's quite a nice touch to it, but it's really only for my benefit. It's not really for anybody else's. So, you know, but anyway, I like it. So what else did I add to this? I also added a piece of bias binding. I sewed that together in half and made a loop, because I think this fabric will ruin if it's put on a hook. So I think that will just help it a little bit. I also put a label on it, and if anybody saw my Vlogmas video, in fact I'll put a link in here, I tried to show sewing this in and it went very horribly wrong. It was quite funny. And excuse me, if anybody saw that, you'll now see I have actually unpicked it and re-sewn it in, but honestly, I couldn't believe it. It was like that. But here we go. I put this label in, and that is from Little Rosy Cheeks. Is that the name of the company? Yeah, Little Rosy Cheeks. And it just says, be strong, be happy, be you. And I just thought that fitted in really nicely. So yeah, I am absolutely delighted with this. I'm very glad that I went down a size. I think it was the right thing to do. And I'm going to wear it out on its maiden voyage in a minute, actually, because my daughter and I are going to pop to Hobbycraft in a minute, and I'm going to wear it there, and I haven't worn it yet, so I'm very, very excited about wearing it and feeling nice and snugly in it. I also think it's the sort of thing that would look right with quite a nice big scarf around. It wouldn't, you know, a scarf wouldn't impinge on any of the neckline or anything. I think that'll look quite nice. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this make. I think that's all I need to tell you about it. So I'm going to get on. In fact, actually, I'm going to go to Hobbycraft, and then I'm going to come back later and I'm going to show you the other items that I've made. So it might be a bit darker when I see you in a bit. So on to the last couple of things that I've made, and they are pajamas. So it's quite apt, actually, that it's now night time. Ellen and I have come back from Hobbycraft. I didn't buy anything. I don't even know really why we went, if I'm absolutely honest. But it was nice to have a little bimble around and have a little look. But yes, oh, actually, do you know what? While I'm talking, I've just realised there's this weird blue light behind me. That's because Ellen and John decided to put blue sparkly lights all the way around this room the other day. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit annoying, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm going to move the camera. There we go. No blue. I feel like I can still see a blue glow. I suppose what I could do is actually turn them off, but hey ho. Anyway, it is Christmas, it's fine. Right, so on to the last things that I've made, and they are pajamas. So I've made a set for myself and I've made a set for John. Now, unfortunately, I cannot show you the set that I've made for John. I've got them here and I'm going to hold them up and show you. In fact, I might even put the top on and show you, but I haven't taken any photos of him in them. And if anybody's watched my Vlogmas, you'll know that he was going into hospital and he's actually there today. And I can just let everybody know that he's had his operation and we're not allowed to go and visit him because of COVID rules and what have you, which is a real shame. But we have heard from him and it's been quite hilarious. He's clearly slightly delirious and quite high on drugs at the moment, so it is really funny, but he is absolutely fine, and hopefully we'll be able to go and pick him up tomorrow. But I have to say, I'm a bit gutted that I can't go in because I felt quite anxious all day, if I'm absolutely honest. And yeah, I've been kind of I've only rung the hospital a couple of times to say any news yet, because he was in having his operation a lot longer than what I was expecting. And yeah, but he is fine, and thank you so much to everybody that commented on my last video and wished him all good well wishes. So yes, he is great. Well, he's not great, he's hilarious, but anyway, I'm really going off on a tangent, aren't I? So pajamas, I got some fabric from minerva.com. And I got it free in exchange for a blog post, and I have put the blog post up about this, and I will try and make sure I link it in the description box below for you to go and have a little read of. So this is a set that I've made before, so I feel a bit naughty that I'm sharing it with you again because it's a bit boring really to share the same thing, but it's made in quite a different fabric and it has made quite a difference to the fit. So I'm going to share that with you now. So I've made the True Bias Hudson pants, which I have made before. They've got a nice sort of big elasticated top like that, nice big pockets, quite slim fitting, and then they come down into a little cuff at the bottom. And then I've made the Grain Line Linden sweatshirt, which again, I've made that before, but I've made it in more of a t-shirty kind of fabric. Now I made this, and I sewed the neckband on completely the wrong way round. I sewed it on back to front, and lots of people said, oh, it's just pajamas, don't worry about it. And a few people made some suggestions of what I should do, and they were all really helpful. However, by the time I'd read the suggestions, I'd unpicked it and put it on the right way round, because it was just going to drive me crazy. So I'm really glad that I did, because it now is absolutely fine. So things to tell you about this. First of all, this fabric, it has these little teddy bear heads on them, so very pajama-esque. It's a nice, smooth, soft jersey fabric, but on the inside, it's got this lovely, fleecy, soft fleece on the inside in grey. And it hasn't made a massive difference to the fit of the top, because the top is quite a roomy top anyway. I have to say, it is ultra comfortable. This top is very easy to fit and make, because it has raglan sleeves, so lots of straight line sewing, not fitting in sleeves and all that kind of thing. And the Hudson pants, they're quite a good make. I would say they are a bit beyond a beginner make, but they are actually very good, and the instructions for them are very good. But I have made these obviously in a thicker, not quite so stretchy fabric. It is stretchy, but not massively, not like a t-shirt cotton. So these feel a lot closer fitting. I wouldn't change the size of them again. I would still make them in this size if I made them in this kind of fabric again, but they definitely feel a little bit clipper. What I will say though, is being like that, they have felt so snug and so lovely, and I have to say it has been quite a struggle on the days where I'm like, I've got to put these in the wash. So I do think I'm going to have to make myself some more in this style of fabric, or this type of fabric, because I absolutely love them. Now, what I have done different with these than what I have with my other Hudson pants is I normally do this bit with a piece of ribbing, and this bit here, and this little detail on the pocket, that's always done with ribbing, and I've just done it in the same fabric this time, and it's really made no difference. It's still perfectly comfortable to get over my ankle, so that's no problem at all. So I really like this set, and like I say, I've written a blog post all about it on Minerva.com's Minerva Ambassadors blog post site, so I will put that link in below so you can have a little look at it. So I have made not a matching set, but I have made a set for John. So I'll hold up the Hudson pants. So this is the men's version of the Hudson pants, and I've made it, it's exactly the same fabric. It's got this lovely fleecy inside to it and a nice smooth outside, but I've made it out of this fabric which has got classic cars on. He's a bit of a car fanatic, and yeah, they're just really lovely. And he, oh my gosh, he loves these. He wears these all the time, and he has said, I'm gonna have to have another pair, because he literally lives in them, and he's gone into hospital, and I'm like, right, quick, get them in the wash. In fact, I pulled these out of the wash basket. I hope they're clean, but I pulled them out of the wash basket, so I need to chuck them in the washing machine in a minute. So I've made the Hudson pants, and I made the men's version. With the Hudsons, there is a men's sewing pattern and a female sewing pattern, and I couldn't decide. I had the female one already, and I couldn't decide whether it was a good idea to do the men's. So I again did a bit of research and thought, no, I need to do that, and I'm glad I have, because they seem to fit him really well. I think they've just got a bit of a different shape around like the bottom area, which I suppose is quite obvious, isn't it? But anyway, so that's the only difference, between these and these, is that's the men's pattern, this is a female pattern. So the other thing that I made him was an hoodie style jumper. I don't know if that's what you call it. Is it called a jumper? I'm not quite sure. But it is a very, very, very oversized jumper, sweatshirt, hoodie. I don't know what you want to call it. And hoodie is a brand. So obviously this isn't an actual hoodie. This is a version of the brand that you can buy, and I can't remember the name of the pattern company off the top of my head, but I'm going to put it across here. However, this is called the billy wearable blanket, I think it's called, and it is this super oversized top, like I say, and it's a totally free pattern. I mean, absolutely fantastic. There are sizings to it, and I can put them in for you if you wanted to, but in all honesty, I think if you made the smallest size, it still would be plenty big enough, but there are other options. But this is the very smallest size, and it looks, well, I'm not going to lie, it looks ridiculous on John. I mean, he's not going to win Sexiest Man of the Year in this, not at all, especially when he then pairs it with the leggings as well. And then occasionally wears that around the house with his Crocs on. I mean, honestly, what's my life come to? But I will show you this top. Now, I have to be honest, I don't feel like I've sewn this very well. I think I could have sewn this a whole lot better. I believe that the bottom is sewn really nicely. That's all fine. It's got this massive pocket on it. But the thing that I'm disappointed with, and it's my own fault, and I probably could go back and rectify it, is I didn't do the hood properly. I don't know why. I just don't know why I didn't do it properly, but I've folded it over and then I've sewn it around, and to me it looks scruffy. I mean, John, it doesn't care less, and nobody else is going to see it because, oh my gosh, I hope he never goes out in public in this. Flipping heck. But if I was going to make it again, I would do the hood a little bit like I've done the hem, where I've overlocked the actual fabric, turned it over and then sewn it down. I didn't sew it with a stretch stitch because it's so oversized, it's not going to get stretched or the stitches ripped out. But like, can you see there? Look, I feel a bit embarrassed showing you this, but I've literally sewn it over, and I've sewn it far too close to the edge. What was I thinking? I don't really know, to be honest. But anyway, that's what I've done. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to stand back and show you, and I'm going to look really ridiculous in it. But what John has said to me is, whilst he loves this and he wears it at home a lot, I shouldn't say that, I should be delighted that he's wearing the stuff that I've made him. But although he wears this at home quite a lot, he wouldn't go to bed wearing it. And what he has said is he would really like a sweatshirt out of this fabric, just like this one. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trace out a bigger pattern. I don't think it's really matters if it's male or female, but trace out the larger pattern for him and make him a little sweatshirt like this so that he can wear it to bed, because he does get quite chilly at night. So oh my gosh, I'm gonna get lost in here, aren't I? And I'm gonna mess my hair up. There we go. Right, so how are you gonna be able to see this if I stand up? Oh my word, look, it comes all the way down to my knees. It has this enormous pocket in it. Right, I've had to move the camera a little bit so you can see it. I mean, honestly, I feel ridiculous in this, but it is absolutely huge. I mean, it's lovely. It really is lovely, because it's so comfortable, and obviously it's got a nice big hood on it. Let me put the hood up. There you go. So he feels as snug as a bug in a rug when he's wearing this, which is hilarious. And I did get the fabric for, you know, this fabric, the blue one. I did get it to make myself one of these, but after I saw him in it, I was like, oh, I don't think I really want one. I have to say, I've not tried it on before. Now I'm beginning to think maybe I do want one, because it's quite nice, actually. Oh, it really is like a wearable blanket. Oh, I've got double fleece on now, haven't I? That's lovely. So yeah, so that is his massive hoodie type style jumper, which he absolutely loves. And I think he secretly likes it because when he sat down of an evening, it's so big, sometimes my dogs, who do feel the cold as well, will quite often get up and have a cuddle on his lap, and then they're like, can I just get in under there with you? And they're all snuggled up on the settee together. It's quite hilarious. So that is John's hoodie and my pajamas. This is going up as a blog post soon on Minerva. I just haven't done it yet. I've just realised I've got those blue lights in again, haven't I? Sorry. So that is all my makes for November and a little bit of December. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing them. Have you got any wintry makes that you're making, either snuggly ones or party ones or anything like that? It'd be really lovely to hear about what you're making or planning to make. But other than that, I'm going to say see you later. I hope you're all well. You take care. Bye. pocket in it, and it's, well, that's not helpful, is it?